Battalion 1.
We just had a plane crash into Upper 4 of the World Trade Center. Welcome to Contact 2-3. When you see any movement in there, I want you to hit it. Out.
Roger. We're taking fire from roughly building 112,
421 eastbound, red Pontiac G6, near passenger, George Robert.
Car stand by. Car stand by. 50 officer.
Trade Center, tower number 1 is on fire. The whole outside of the building, it was just a huge explosion.
33. We're outside the building. 744.
Hey, hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Watching the War. Today in the studio, we have Chris Raymer with us. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, bro. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this one. So, Chris and I have known each other for many, many years now. And, I think it's pretty cool how we met and then, how the years went by and we've crossed paths again. And now I would say, speak on a daily basis. So super excited to have you here, man. I am all about people's come up stories. And you have one hell of a come up story, man. And I think, part of your vision is to share that story to help other people. And I'm super excited to have you here to do that. Cause at the end of the day, that's one of our biggest goals here is like, how do we just help each other? How do we get better?
Yeah, this falls right in line with kind of why we started doing this in the first place. Just talking about, people being put through difficult circumstances in their life and kind of how they got through it and kind of what their, special sauce is to get on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, technically that's how me and Bryan's become friends like we are. It's how we speak every day is because, he invited me over here, before this place was built, told me about it, told me to come over here. I come over here, start coming over here and, man, the atmosphere of, just encouragement and we start having a lot more conversations and it was all about, men, building them up, helping them out, being honest about our downfalls, working through things together as a team. Mm-hmm. There was Bible study and stuff going on here at the time, when I didn't have to work, I'd come over to it and just, this place is, like I tell people all the time, it's more than guns. It's more than, it's all cool, every bit of it, you can't, it's not a facility around like it. I mean, but it's the atmosphere of this place. I've not had one negative thing ever. Like, it's always been positive interactions with people. People that even learned about my past, never treated me any different, speak to me the same.
Yeah.
Always give me good advice. Every time I come through the door, it's like, hey, man, where you been at? It's like, I don't even get that at home.
Me either. I don't get that when I walk in. I'm going to have to have a little
my dog
like
now, my dog's definitely when I come through the door.
No, man. Well, that's good to hear because at the end of the day, I think it's all about surrounding ourselves with people, that want to push us to be better versions of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that being having real conversations, telling us things we don't want to hear. And, I know you and I have had some of those and I appreciate that. I'm all about being checked if I'm out of line because that's what real friendship is.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
And I've learned that. It's something that I've just learned, over the past, how many years we've been reconnected now? 6?
5 or 6.
5 or 6. I've been home, I've been home since 2019. So, 2019, 2020 is when I started learning what it was like to have real friends, real, stand up individual men around me that would be honest with me, that I could be honest with and have conversations about the things we deal with inside of our heads, behavior that we still need to check. And I'd never had that before. Never. So it's been a 5-6 year experience of something that I've never had in my life. I've never had positive male role models, none of that stuff. And now here it is. God brings me home with a whole different perspective on life, and he's just been placing people in my life that has been very beneficial to help me grow and go further. And that just motivates me to want to do that with other people also.
Sure. And I know you guys know each other obviously pretty well, and we've been alluding to, you keep talking about your past and your upbringing. I don't know you. I just met you today, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners don't know where you're coming from either. So
yeah.
I'd love to get a starting point and then kind of get to where you're at now. So wherever you're comfortable opening up at, let's just kind of figure out kind of where you're coming from.
Okay. All right. Like I said earlier before we start this, I don't mind touching on all this stuff. I will never glorify it. I will say that everything that I lived and did before was shameful and dishonorable. Did my environment and the things I grew up around have a lot to do with it? Yeah, but at a certain age, we know right from wrong, and we choose. Grew up single mom. Grew up around a lot of drugs, a lot of crime, bad atmosphere. I was abused.
Here in Evansville?
Yeah, I was born and raised here. Gotcha. Born and raised here in Evansville. So bounced around between Jimtown and the South Side my whole life. Everybody now sees me in my camo and steel-toed boots, and they're like, "Look at this redneck." No, from the hood, bro. Guess I still got the redneck in me, but
yeah.
But my environment was just violence, drugs, poverty. Not to go too in deep because, like I said, I don't want to glorify this stuff. I became a violent individual. I will touch on some things because I think it's important, and I don't think you'd mind me using this platform to touch on a few of these things.
Well, I was going to tell you right off the bat, there's not a person in this room or probably listening right now that doesn't have a shameful or a past they're not proud of.
Oh yeah, it's not so that. It's
good company.
I'm sitting here thinking, how do I go in and touch on some of this stuff without making it a long story, a big situation? Because it's more about what God's done for my life now. The people he's placed in my life, where I'm at now, where I'm going, the things I see forward, because it took me a long time not to look backwards, I grew up abused, got locked up 3 times when I was a juvenile. And this is kind of where this is where I can kind of pinpoint that set my adult life that I once lived. At 13 years old, I got tired of being abused, so I decided to hit back. It also is kind of crazy that me and Bryan are friends like we are, and I'm friends with, I can name drop a bunch of them right now, but I'm not going to, but like police officers and stuff, man, because I had this huge authority problem. I hated them. And this was why, is because, growing up, police would come to the house, Child Protective Service come to the house. I've had stitches, all kind of stuff, and nothing ever be done about it. But when I was 13 years old, I got tired of it, decided to hit back. I got thrown in Indiana boys' school, for trying to protect myself. Mm-hmm. And that became where my authority issues came from, and my hatred for anyone in authority. Because, they never did anything about me being harmed. And as soon as I protected myself, I got thrown in Indiana boys' school, which is closed down now. Like, most violent place I've ever been in my life is sink or swim. And I decided to swim, and I took on the form of the animal, instead of being the prey. And spent a year there, got released to another family member's house that wasn't physically abusive, but she collected kids for a welfare check. Kept a car chain around the refrigerator, was verbally abusive, and a lot of crazy stuff. I ran away. Got picked up for runaway. They sent me back to that boys' school, a year later, they send me right back to that same person's house, you know. So I ran away again, got picked up, boom, they sent me right back to that place. So about 3 years of my life was in a very violent juvenile facility, you know, where, heck, man, it was, guards would take us upstairs. We had these things called ding-dings. They take us upstairs to the sleeping quarters and put everybody on their bunks, and you, middle of the floor, make us fight each other, you know. I mean, it's just, and that was just small pieces of what that place was like. And so, dude, I just built all this anger and had all these emotions I didn't understand. And man, because of that stuff, man, it just, violence, it became my outlet. It felt good. I'd be sitting on that bunk hoping they pick me. Let's go. You know, let's go. And I brought that to the streets with me. And that's just the person I became, man. And eventually it led in, you know, to repeating the same lifestyle I was raised in, abusiveness. Never got into drug use other than marijuana. There's a lot of people that thought I was a drug addict just because I was around nothing but drug addicts, but I dibbled and dabbled, and that stuff wasn't for me. I'm chemically imbalanced enough, you know. So the weed calmed me down, you know. Didn't calm me down enough, but it took the edge off. And I just was a violent individual, man. Running around doing street gang stuff, you know, playing with guns, stealing cars, beating people up. And that was my favorite thing to do, was to fight. My favorite thing to do. Like, I would wake up some days just looking, man, who am I going to fight today? Because it was an outlet. And that led me to doing a lot of prison time. You put that juvenile time with the time I did adult incarceration, about 19 years of my life. 19 and a half years of my life. And I'm 47. Yeah, wasteful. Wasted a lot of my life. And like I touched on earlier, it was through going to college, you know, psychology. Like I said, I was always good at reading people, man. I was up in my game on hustling and networking and speaking, and, you know, and I'm like, man, I'm throwing this psychology in here. I'm going to learn a lot about people. And I learned a lot about myself. Learned a lot about how I was psychologically conditioned. Everything I went through formed my thought pattern, which in turn forms your behavior pattern. And I hear people talk about it all the time. And sometimes I don't think our world takes it serious enough of what psychological conditioning can do. Because this right here is psychologically conditioning not just the kids, but even adults.
Yep. And
they don't even realize it's happening to them. Like, I think psychology should be taught in all schools. So this way these kids are aware of what's going on. But yeah, man, it was through that education and looking in that mirror, you know, and man, you know, realizing things, why I was the way I was, and then I started studying more of it, and it talked about the reconditioning, you know, reconditioning of your thoughts, reconditioning of your behavior. And I just like, man, I don't want to live this life no more. And I just started facing things and trying to recondition my thought pattern. You know, started doing more positive things, got involved in programs in there. You know, Reverend Joe Huff, may he rest in peace. He was a member of the Indiana Department of Corrections. He started a program called the Plus Program in there. He was also the chaplain for the Anderson City Police Department. He seen something in me I didn't, and started dropping seeds in me. Got me in his program, you know, started doing a lot of educating, and then he started having me facilitate for him. And the whole time he just, yeah, he was, he seen things in me that I didn't, man, and he started helping me bring it out and start learning a lot, and just things were changing. I guess I got to bring this up, but, you know, like I said, I'm not glorifying it. Was a part of a prison gang also at that time. When I went in, I was young, got involved in it. Even though a lot of people, the rumors, you know, I wasn't a white supremacist. That's not what I was a part of. I know the bald head and tattoos, people say that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
as the African American people in there would say, I was a hood honky. So that was very true about me. Sure. I know. But it was, yeah, man, being in there, seeing guys, after my mind started opening up to things and I started changing my thought patterns, seeing things different, it opened my eyes to seeing my surroundings different. Seeing guys in there that were never going home. I used to play chess with a guy that had been locked up since 1974. I was born in 79. He'd been in there longer than I've been alive. Yeah. Double life without parole. It was a big eye opener for me. One day we're playing chess and he was like, man, Chris, I'm the last one. Last one what? What are you talking about? Well, my sister died yesterday. I'm the last of the bloodline. Nobody else left in my family. And I thought about that. Like, wow. And he's never going home. A year later, he had a heart attack in his cell. Nobody to collect his body. Some eye openers, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope that kind of opens the viewers or listeners. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I could go into 100 stories. I have people picking my brain all the time. Like I said, I'm working on a railroad now. I got a guy out there I've worked with. He's infatuated with lockup, and he wants to know everything all the way down to the toilet paper they use. Like, man, what's wrong with this guy? Just don't go there, man. Like, it's that simple. Just don't go there.
Well, I'll say I think that's an incredible opening for a background once over. I mean, what an incredible story. And I mean, I'm sitting here thinking the whole time, I mean, that's almost half your life in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just the way you were born and raised. I mean, most of the time we talk to people about, hey, what sports you play growing up, baseball and football, and you're just like, no, I was doing other things at that time. But
yeah,
I mean, I'm trying in my head, it keeps circling around, just kind of wondering. You said, there was a kind of a point in time at which you wanted to start. It seemed like, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you went to school. I'm assuming, obviously, remote college.
Ball State University at the time. Just professors from the college that come to the prison and teach.
Oh, okay.
So it's the same professors. Dr. Rohr from Ball State University was one of my main psychology professors.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that guy. Mr. Carmichael. Mr. Carmichael was done English. So like I made Dean's List every semester. Mr. Carmichael used to try to get me to be a part of some book club and stuff like and write, and then I took public speaking and stuff like that, and that's how I met Joe Huff. I was giving a speech in my Com 210 class one time, and I got done giving a speech, and all of a sudden this guy in the back that looked like Colonel Sanders, his wife will laugh when she sees this and hears this, like all of a sudden says, I want to be just like that guy when I grow up. And I'm thinking, you're old, bro. You're grown. Why are you not in a prison uniform?
Yeah.
And I can't tell if this is Colonel Sanders or the most interesting man in the world from Dos Equis.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
But it seemed like you chose to go to school to kind of fine tune your craft, and I don't know if criminal is the right word for it, but to try to be better at doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And throughout that process, God has a crazy way of showing us ourselves sometimes, right?
Man, absolutely, he does.
That's when that kind of light bulb went off, where you were like, man, maybe I need to look at myself a little harder here.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you bring up, God showing us, man, he does too, man. And that's one of the things, like, if he can work in my life like he has, he can work in anybody's life. And I truly believe that. And, you hear people say that stuff all the time. But, I know there's people way worse than what I was, man. But, what we touched on earlier about men, strengthening each other, building each other. I was thinking about this the other day, Bryan being one of them, I went, we'll probably touch on this more, but I work for CSX now. I'm a freight conductor.
Awesome, man. Yeah, bro.
It's amazing.
Did you ever think 20 years ago you'd be sitting, working, having a full-time job, living a normal?
I didn't know nothing about the railroad except for jumping on the cars in Howell Park. You know, like that's illegal, by the way. Now I get to do it legally. Like,
I know
but I
exactly
knew
what you're
nothing
talking
about trains other than you could get to Nashville that way. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
but I went down to Atlanta, Georgia for that training, you know, for conductor training. And while down there, man, and I hope one day to get him up here or something, man. I'm name calling you, bro. Brooks Hargroves. He was my instructor down there, man. Talk to him every day just like we do. Like, awesome dude, man. Like, was in the Coast Guard, you know, then, you know, CSX. While down there, man, he boldly spoke of Christ in that classroom. Very first day in that classroom. He boldly talked about his faith. And now he's a normal dude just like us. You know, a normal dude just like us. But he believes in God and he believes, you know, in what God has done in his life. And he invited some of us to start going to church with him on Sunday down there. It's down in Noonan.
How long was the training total there?
A month.
A month, okay.
Yeah. So he invited everybody. Anybody wanted to go to church with him and his family. Well, the first time I went down and went to that church, man, and I've been thinking about this ever since we talked about this podcast, man, and just the people, you know, you being one of them, man. Like the people God's placed in my life. And the church is called Foundation Church. Amazing church down there, man. Like, amazing people. But the pastor was up there talking about, you know, people being a light in other people's lives. And he gave this demonstration at the end, you know, turned off all the lights. And he turned this lantern on. Just started walking around the stage. Pitch dark. You can't see nothing but that lantern. And he's walking around, you know, and talking about, you know, Christ being the light for us, you know, and us being the light for each individual. And it just, that moment, it kind of has been a defining moment and something that's made me be more appreciative to people that have been supportive of me, have helped me, have, you know, been there for me to talk to, been there, you know, to work through, you know, hard times. Tony Burns, you know, like, I'm name dropping him too right now. Like, you know, works right here at Lawman.
Yes, he does.
That dude is amazing, man. Like, and the whole time he's up there, you know, with that lantern, and it just made me think of each individual that God has used as a lantern in my life. And it all started with Joe Huff, you know, that worked for the Department of Corrections. I had an authority problem out of this world. This dude worked for the Department of Corrections. And I sit and look, and it's crazy, man. Like you said, how God will work, because my background, the lifestyle I live, the authority problem I have, and I can sit here and name so many people from correctional officers to law enforcement that have been a lantern in my walk in the last 10 years, you know? And it just shows, man. Like,
well, I wanted to ask you about that because, you know, you and Bryan are so close now, and all these lanterns you're talking about. You know, you talked earlier about authority being a big problem for you. I mean, how did you kind of mature that kind of thought process over the years to start actually getting to the point to where you could trust or even be friends with with authority figures, you know? Because, I mean, discovering yourself, I'm sure, was a big part of your journey, but then getting that trust back that when you were so young had kind of been forsaken.
Yeah. I don't know if I can say it. Differentiating? Yeah, can't even speak. Between good and bad people.
Okay.
And also flawed people. I think I started to realize after learning about myself and really digging into myself, it made me start seeing people around me different. It started making me see people as...
That's the truth right there.
Yeah, it made me start...
on that hit.
Yeah. I mean, it just, it made me start seeing people different. and also being more accepting of, man, this dude's messed up too. Like, he don't got it all figured out. Like, yeah, and it just coming to realization is, you have good people, you have bad people, yeah, but you also have people that just, man, trying to figure life out too and make mistakes. If I was to, I don't want people to constantly hold my mistakes over my head. I mean, there are people. Yeah, I say I'm friends with people that are in law enforcement and stuff now, but there's also ones that only know, they look at me and they look at that computer screen, and that's how they see me.
Yeah.
No matter who I am today. And I just got to accept that that's how they feel about me, and that's okay. It's okay. It's not stopping nothing in my life. It's not affecting me none. If anything, it's keeping them closed mind and not getting in a position to be able to understand, because no bridges will ever be built, you know what I'm saying, by being a brick.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
that's not going to happen.
It's like, it's more of a, at a certain point in time, it's more of a you problem, not a me problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's their loss, because we can really learn a lot from each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I want to, I'd love to sit down with people that don't understand, that never ever experienced my background, and maybe help them understand it a little bit better, so they can deal with the youth and stuff a little bit better. So maybe they can get a little, and I'll do that anytime for anybody that wants to do it, man. They can pick my brain and we can conversate forever. Now, if I'm on a train, my phone has to be off. Like, I'm not going to respond to you.
Make sure you say that on
There's military technology on there that can know if your phone is on.
Yeah.
Them locomotives are very smart now. So if I don't respond, hey, I'm at work. Like, phone's not even on. Like, I'm not violating nothing.
I know that.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of want to circle back to that, because we've discussed many times. I think early in my law enforcement career, I didn't really understand that people are a product of their environment. I would go and be like, well, everybody's got a choice. Well, we do have choices, right? But I think, when, a son grows up and dad's beating on mom every day and he's selling dope and he's running the streets, that's normal, right?
Yeah.
In my home, normal is dad gets up and goes to work. We go to church on Sunday. We do these things. That's what my kids know is normal.
Yeah.
Right? That's their environment. And I think it took me many years in my career to see, like, that's a real thing. And, how do we help that? Like, how do we, like, what a difference that would have made for you in your life, right? If one, I always say that what an important role a dad is in a home. Having that dad to hold you accountable, to that hard love, to tell you no when you need to be told no, or to grab you up by the neck and set you down and say you're not going on the streets. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with you. Like I said, I didn't have no positive male role models in my life. I was doing a lot of bad things, and like, I liked to fight, and I liked girls, and they mixed together up there with an out-of-towner, and I got kicked out of school a lot. And so he'd put me to work, baling hay, shoveling cow pens. Like, here's a hand sickle, go cut down that mile ditch. Don't let me catch you drinking water for more than 60 seconds. Like, that's how he was. Like, he was hard nosed, man. Like, over time, he realized that I didn't really care about going to school, that I liked it. That work, man. Like, I was releasing my anger. And I can look back now. I didn't get it then, and I don't know if that's what he was trying to teach me. I think it was more of a punishment. But I look at it now as a lesson that I use it even today, man. I will grind. Like, you can put me under that sun for 19 hours with 2 bottles of water, and I'm going to grind it out. Like, and it feels satisfying afterwards. I feel relieved and just want to go to sleep. Don't even want to take my boots off. Like, but that male, that the influence of an older male on a younger male is great. Even if it's not your dad. You know, I had a lot of older males around me, but they were not good role models. You know, they were involved in drugs and you name it, all the criminal stuff, everything. And, you know, and I died. That toxic relationship stuff, oh, that was a cycle I repeated too. You know, definitely, man. You know, definitely repeated that stuff. That's probably one of the things That's probably one of the things I'm most ashamed of. I don't really need to go into details. I think we all know what I'm saying, you know. It wasn't that yeah, just the constant fighting and toxicity and that's in my home life. Uh I never was the same way to my kids like was to me, but I was to everybody else around me. And I mean, technically, to be fully honest, uh, there's relationships that are still, man, non-existent and still in progress because of you know the life I once lived, not being there with my kids. Uh, I don't hold it against them. I don't hold them against it at all. Like that's my fault. That's a cycle I repeated. I just hope that they don't repeat the cycle. I hope that they see something different. I hope that I can show them in honesty like this, you know, conversations, you know, of not living the same lifestyle, not repeating those cycles, um, because it's just going to trickle down. It's just going to keep going, generation to generation. Like it's gotta come to a stop, and so it's and that does, you know, it like you said, how would that affected my life as somebody positive would have stepped in? You know, I know an individual right now who works for a police department. You know, and me and him, we've had conversations. Um, he grew up the same way I did, went through the same stuff, but at some point in his life, he had a positive male step into his life and start showing him a different way. And now here he is out here trying to make a difference in a tough time where people don't trust any of them.
Yeah.
You know, because there is a lot of bad stuff, but they don't realize some of them got hearts of gold and really do care. You know, but now that man's out here and he's a sergeant. You know, out here trying to make a difference, trying to be that positive in somebody's life. And man, awesome. I'm glad that happened for him. You know, it didn't for me. But God had a different purpose. And this is where the crazy part comes in. I used to think people are crazy when they say all things work for the good. You know, scripture says it. All things work for the good. All things work for God's good, for those who love him. So it took to the fact that I had to start learning how to love myself and then accept God, accept that he was real because I rejected him for years. And once I start seeing how real he was and how much he was making a difference in me, my love for him started growing. And I look back at all the stuff I've been through and was like, man, you know, it's for a purpose. For a purpose. I could sit around and be ashamed of it, regret it, let it hold me back. Or I could use it for what it's there for.
Yeah, that's strong, man. Because I think you know, I'm not, I'm not super spun up on all the details in the Bible. You know, I'm still trying to learn all those things, but there's so many stories in the Bible that talk about, you know, God putting people through things for a purpose, right? That we don't always see. And at the end of the day, like all the good that comes out of some of those things, man. And I think your story is one of those testimonies, bro. Like I've seen you touch so many lives. Um, you know, I think because, you know, especially people in the streets, like you lived it, right? I can't go knock on a door and try to tell some kid like, bro, you're going to end up in prison. He's going to look at me like, yeah, you're going to put me there. right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can communicate like, dude, I was right there, bro. You don't want to go this way. And I've seen you do that numerous times to be that light, man. And that's so honorable. Like, and I hate that you went through the things you did in your life, but there's no doubt there's no doubt in my mind that God will use you for something much greater, in the future, and to continue to touch these kids' lives, because I mean, that's our future, man.
I don't want to see anybody go through stuff. Not just the kids, man, but adults too. I mean, some of them. I find myself looking on recent bookings, and you know, I see old
Guilty.
familiar faces that are older than me. I'm like, yeah, bro, you don't get it yet. Like, what's wrong with you? They can't hear me. I'm looking at their picture on the phone, but I'm like,
Yeah.
and I think all the time, man. Like, God, how can I help change this, man? And but mainly with the kids, man. I don't want to see them go down that path, man. They might not end up. I had a kid one time say, well, I might end up going down that path, but maybe I might end up where you're at too one day. Like, but you might not too. You might end up doing something dumb out of reaction or emotions, because a lot of the things I'd done was out of emotions and not thinking about the consequences, just reactions, that I could have been dead
Mm-hmm.
or spent the rest of my life in prison, like that man I played chess with. And I know, to be all the way honest, yeah, that is where I was going. I mean, I'm lucky that it didn't, not lucky, I'm blessed. At one time, I was facing like if they ran everything consecutive, I was facing like 100 years in prison. And there are a lot of things that were put on me on, my cases from 2004, 2005, which was considered robbery. And I can go on record now and say, well, it wasn't intentions to rob anybody. It's stupider than that, really. Guy was running around telling everybody he beat me up, trying to impress some girls, and I got wind of it. Literally beat this dude, almost killed him, and almost spent the rest of my life in prison over defending a reputation. That's dumber than robbery. The stupidest you could ever think of right there. Literally almost gave up my whole life and took another man's life over defending a reputation, a street reputation. That's why I am with these kids now, because that's what they think it's a rite of passage. They think it's cool, and then they got all this stuff being fed to them to make it seem this lifestyle so cool. This, and you got all these older guys that are promoting it too. Like, I'll sit right here in public and say I'm against every one of them. I hope your guys get every one of them, bro, because they're influencing these kids to lose their lives, take lives, and waste their life. And if you're doing that with these kids, as far as I'm concerned, you're the enemy. Like, you're putting these kids down the path that I was once on. Like, where that guy I played chess with was on. Like, that stuff's not cool at all.
Yeah, man. You were just telling that story about the generations and repeating cycles, and we say it a lot on the show, but it takes one generation to break a cycle, right?
Yeah.
Just takes one. And
yeah, absolutely.
I went away from faith for quite a while growing up, for probably a good 10, 15 years. And I heard a priest say one time that everything that happens, God either wills it or allows it. And it took me a long time to really understand that. And it's like everything that's allowed or willed is any suffering that you might be going through. It's to form you or shape you in some way. And then that my kind of one of my favorite quotes, I put it on the ruck all the time, is at some point in time, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I stopped praying for a lighter load and just started asking to have strong enough shoulders, to carry it. And it completely flipped a script in my head. But I can't even imagine, going back to what you're talking about with these kids and some of these older influencers that they have, and I want to sit here and you know, condemn them for that, right? But it's at the same time, I'm also like, what else do they have to go off of?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's true.
I'm not saying it's
Yeah.
okay, right? But it's like I don't know the answer, but separating them completely by having guys like you go and lock them up probably is the best way.
Yeah, but I think that this is bigger than just people in prison, right? Like we talk about our stories. When I was going through my dark times, I was craving violence too because that's where I was comfortable,
Oh yeah,
right? So different but the same because everything else wasn't comfortable, but I knew I was comfortable in that space, so I would look for it with my family, with a dude at a red light. It didn't matter. Like that was the only place I felt
Yeah.
comfortable, man. And it's because it became part of who I was.
I think that's a lot how we got connected too. Is when we start having some deep conversations, man, and getting to really know each other, we realized that from two totally different worlds, but was dealing with the same stuff up here. And that's kind of an eye opener on, and going back to, one of the things that the authority thing of changing and being more recognizable of people. Uh, learning about the stuff I was going through myself, why I was going through it, because before I just didn't know. I was just lost, man. Until I started taking them psychology classes, man, God really used them things to open my eyes to a lot of things, man, to myself, because I was lost. I couldn't, somebody said, well, these are your problems. I'd look at them, no, they're your problem. I'm good.
yeah.
You know, but it didn't make me start realizing that other people, and go back to, like you said, the ones that are influenced, they're lost also.
Yeah.
Do I speak, I speak the way I speak about it, yeah, because it's, quite frankly, it's, man, I'm saying, if you're influencing these kids to live like this, you're not a man, you know. And I was not a man for a long time. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what being a man was. It was burly and tough
your
and
reputation.
be able to knock somebody out.
Yeah.
And that's nothing. I'm still learning. I still don't know every bit of it, man. I'm still learning. I mean, I'll probably go to the grave trying to learn.
Yeah.
But I know when it's not, and it's not influencing people to do the wrong things, man. That friendship, learning what real friendship is. Is a friend going to support you, in your bull crap? Absolutely not. My friend's going to call you out on it. When you're doing wrong, you're doing something that, is against the grain of what, manhood and, and the growth of your life and the people around you. A friend's going to say, hey, yeah, you're screwing up, bro. We need to talk.
Yep.
Like, I'm calling you out.
Yeah. And it's easy.
I never had that. I went with people. I had people around me that just, man, whatever I said, they roll with. Whatever I did, Now I got I won't mention his name on there because I don't think he'd be appreciative of it, But my friend that I said I'd go check on and go sit on the porch and talk to him. One day I was sitting on the front porch talking to him and spending some time with him, man. It's my childhood friend. I love him. Hope his life, starts to get better also. I really do. I pray for him all the time. Anything I could do for him, I would.
Mm-hmm.
But he looked me dead in my eye one day and said, man, dude, you used to go too far. And I didn't know where it was coming. He just, I guess, finally he just wanted to get it out, and say, man, I used to think we was going to either die or spend the rest of our life in prison because of you, man. You used to take things way too far, Chris. You used to scare me. And sitting thinking, man, and that was some honesty, and I could see that he had thought about that for a long time. One of my running buddies, one of my childhood friends, and it just made me think about, man, I'd put so many people's lives in jeopardy by my actions on the dumb stuff I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of what makes me want to help people also. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, I know believing in Christ and believing he died for your sins and rose again in 3 days is what matters. Wholeheartedly believe in that. Scripture says we'll never be perfect. We'll become perfect whenever Christ comes and takes us back. That's when we'll be perfect. I had to get that through my head too, because when I come home, it was all about proving to everybody I wasn't the same person. Being how everybody else wanted me to be, speaking how people wanted me to speak. And I had to get over that.
Oh yeah,
that was stopping my growth.
It's a daily battle. I mean, every single day, like you said. Once
Yeah.
you think, I mean, we all fall into that kind of trap. I mean, you start off with doing something small. Like, we're all sinners, right?
Yeah.
You start with small ones, and they start compounding, and the wrong decision starts getting bigger and bigger, and you don't even worry about the little ones anymore. And you go to the next. You can either start heading down that path of destruction, or you can start, which is a lot more work, going down a path of righteousness. But I have to check myself every day and just be like, nope, I'm not going to that life anymore. I'm not going to who I was. This is who I want to be.
Chris, I want to circle back to something because I think it's important, and I would like to hear your side of this. But when you,
I'm glad you keep circling us back, because
I'm a
we
circle,
get talking.
man.
I think Paul's like me. We'll get lost in the conversation.
Yeah, whoa.
Next, we jump from one topic to the next.
We'll be here 8 hours if he lets us. Yeah.
No, I just thought about something. We're talking about people influencing and all that stuff, but I'm curious to know, like, the people that encouraged you in that lifestyle and were part of that. When you went away, were they really there for you?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I'll tell these kids this in a heartbeat. Everybody you think's your friend and think you love me, I mean, we've heard it said time and time again, and it still stands strong. And I'm one of the ones who speak it now. No one's going to be there for you. All the people that you put your life on the line with, you do this with, you do that with, man, I think this is one of the best ways I can describe incarceration. You're in a living, moving coffin. You're dead to the world. You no longer exist. You're in there. You're alive. You're still breathing. But you're in a coffin. The world, the world's spinning without you. Everybody that, you thought was your friends, that you thought loved you, and, I'd beat somebody up in a heartbeat over my friends. I remember breaking a dude's jaw just because he refused to shake my buddy's hand. I didn't hear from that buddy one time when I was gone, And I'm glad you touched on this, because there's some people that think that I was supposed to stay loyal to them. There's some people that never even was a part of my life that for some reason thought that because we lived the same lifestyle that my loyalty should lie with the streets and with the lifestyle we lived. They got all, I'm trying not to cuss on here. They got things messed up, brother. Like, my loyalty doesn't lie with none of that stuff no more, and never will, because it was a big eye opener. Like, the only one that was there for me was my mama, and really, God even used that situation. There's a lot of things I won't talk about publicly out of respect for my mom. She's a different person now. She's a believer in God. Her life has changed. Super proud of that woman. God used that whole situation when I was facing the rest of my life in prison. I hadn't talked to my mom in 9 years, and all of a sudden here she is at the old county jail in that little postcard window, ready to see me, crying her eyes out. And from that point on, he used that whole situation to bring us back together and heal our relationship. She was the only one there. Nobody else. I wish them all the best. But I got a life to live, and whether they're a part of it, it don't matter to me. Yeah. The ones, I will say though, man, the guys who have, there's a lot of guys that have changed their lives also. And it's awesome. I love it. I love seeing it. You know, I don't hold no grudges. I'm very blunt about, yeah, like no one was there for me, so I really don't have no bonds or connections anymore. I don't care what neighborhood we grew up in. None of that stuff matters to me. That's all street stuff. That's a subject I could touch on too. There's a lot of people who are living different now, but they're not different. They just got tired of the consequences. So they quit doing the things they were doing, but their mindset's still the same. They're not changed. You know, they think the same, they speak the same, they surround themselves with the same people. They just don't do the same stuff because they don't want that what's coming, you know. They got tired of it. They got smart, you know, but their mentality and their heart's no different. It's maybe one day God will wake them up.
I wanted to ask you about that. You know, we kind of are who we surround ourselves by, right? And you know, you went in there surrounded by a group of friends or acquaintances, and then
Thugs.
on your way out,
You can use that word, bro. Thugs.
what do you say? Hood honky,
Hood honkies.
So, but you know, as you were processing out and coming back into the, you know, the real world, was that difficult for you to kind of separate? Like, I know if I run around with this crew, I'm going to be right back here, but they're my friends, or was you already kind of past that and
Oh,
kind
I
of
think
looking
God
for
let
a
me
new
have
crew?
I think God let me have animosity to keep me from it at first. And that's just to be upfront and honest about it. You know what I'm saying? I think he built allowed some animosity and some anger to build in me, to where when I came home, I had no love for none of them at all. I actually wanted to fight some of them. I was just glad that we'd never seen each other.
Yeah.
You know, and or if we did, we didn't speak. You know, we'd just pass each other and let it be. You know, over a little bit of time, he worked that out of me, but I see it now as he used it. He used it to kind of separate me. That's something I see a lot, and I'm recognizing a lot. Is he's always found a way to separate me. You know, a lot of people say isolation is bad, and it is when you're going through certain things. But at the same time, sometimes there's good isolation and bad isolation. And I think God sometimes uses certain ways to isolate me from things, to keep me away from stuff, but also to give me the space to learn and see what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I think the animosity and the anger I had of being gone for so long, and you know, these are guys that I literally, you know, put my life on the line for, or you know, could have wrongfully taken somebody else's life over, you know, the stuff we were doing. And so to sit in there and that long and not hear from anybody, you know, and knowing my mom's out here old, working in a factory, you know, like only one there for me, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I found ways, like different ways in there legally to take care of myself, because I definitely don't want mom sending me money, for one. Like, I don't know. I used to look down on grown men in there that'd be on the phone all the time asking their mom for something. Like, bro, we put ourselves here. Quit asking your mom for stuff.
Yeah.
But
Well, I know Bryan and I, we talk about it a lot, you know, the lives that we lived when we were active, not necessarily a bad thing, right? But it kind of creates, or it kind of wakes up this well, I think we use monster kind of inside. It's kind of who we used to be type of thing, right? And there's always like a draw to it, sometimes. I know for me at least. I know we've talked about it. You know, you hear something on the news. There's a barricaded shooter at Walmart. You're going to be like,
Yeah, whatever.
oh yeah. And no, I get the same thing. I hear buddies that are overseas right now. You know, and they're like, oh, we're doing this, and I'm like, oh man, that sounds fun.
I think I know where you're going with this question of where I get.
Do you ever get that kind
So-
of not to say you would ever do it, right? But do you still get those old feelings coming up like, man,
Not from them though. It's from people like him. Like, man, to see like the training stuff and to now, like U.S. Marshal stuff, and they're kicking in doors. They're doing this stuff legally and getting paid. You know what I'm saying? Hey, they're busting in doors,
Mostly legal.
whoopsies, and taking names later.
yeah.
Why couldn't somebody got me involved in that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was doing it criminally. These guys were having a blast doing it, you know what I'm saying? With buddies who really have your back.
Yeah, that's what people would say that about us.
Envious of it.
20 years old running around with guns and you're allowed to shoot people? Like, yeah, that's what we do.
I'm like, dude, man, why couldn't all these piece of crap dudes that was in and out of my life, why couldn't somebody got me involved in this stuff?
Say they just upped the enlistment age, but you're about 5 years off. You just missed it.
Yeah,
so.
and I'm pretty sure my criminal record is not going to let it happen.
Actually, they would. I
don't know.
They
But
don't
you
frown
haven't seen
upon
the
that.
packet.
Yeah.
Brian knows the packet. You haven't.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's important too, man. That's an old packet. Your new packet,
absolutely.
dude. Your new packet is so impressive.
Absolutely,
and I
bro.
tell people
That's-
all the time, because on the other side of things, like I know that people always say that, oh, you're hanging out with Bishop, you're one of his snitches or whatever it was, which just to make it clear that never happened ever. Honestly, when I was doing that work, you and I weren't even close.
No.
That kind of came after retirement for me.
I was surprised you wasn't one of the ones that came through my door for my parole violation,
I was probably off that day. But I think I always tell people, going back is, you would get stuff from your side. Well, don't think it doesn't happen on my side of things too. Why are you hanging out with that dude? Do you know what kind of criminal? Yeah, he's not that dude anymore. And guess what? I'm not the dude I used to be. Right. So there's no,
And you know what's crazy, man, is some of the people who make comments like that believe in growth. They believe in growth. They know what it means to grow and be better people and grow as better men, but then still will think like that. Well, what do you think growth does? Growth changes men and makes us better men to be able to communicate. And it don't matter what walk of life we come from, race, none of that stuff matters. The more we grow, the more we're able to communicate, the more we're able to understand. And like you were talking about earlier, the guys coming out of the Marine Corps at Camp Lejeune, walking down the street, you're going to have a cowboy, a motocross guy, all these different personalities, but they're bonded by being in that Marine Corps, by being
common purpose, common mission.
Purpose.
Yeah.
And that isn't just the military or, that's life. As men, when we start growing and become better people, and we start to bond because we have this same purpose, and the same purpose to continue to grow, continue to uplift each other, that we want to see people around us doing better. We want to be, like that's that common bond. It's just not in the format of organization, military, or, it's in the form of life.
Yeah,
You're
talking about growing, and I mean, just by knowing you here for about an hour, I want to know, just coming out on the other side of this. And I know we're not on the other side, but we're on our way to the other side, right? What are some things that you've done?
We're on the other side, bro.
Yeah,
trust me, I'm on the other
yeah,
side.
but okay.
Hey.
So what changes have you made in your life in probably the last couple of years to make sure you stay on this side? What are some habits, some things, some mindset, some behaviors? What are some things that have helped you grow as an individual to be a man and keep growing towards that direction?
First, I had to go to another dark spot, and I touched on that earlier. Since I've been home, I also touched on it about, proving myself. And one of the things was, proving to my community, I'm not the same person, or, and I got wrapped up, in a lot of trying to please other people, man, just to, show them, I'm not the same person, show society I'm not the same person, show, this is the city I grew up in, the city I was a part of helping destroy, and I realized, like, things I've been through, dark times, were for a reason. So, it's been over 2 years, man. I don't know. It's been a few years ago. I had everything going. Still, like I said, still not perfect. I still, I'm a person. I'm a man. We're imperfect. We got a lot of flaws. We got a lot of things we got to work on. I was busting my butt working in these factories, pursuing maintenance stuff, learning different things, taught myself how to read wiring schematics, all kind of stuff, man. Spent years trying to get up at Toyota. They got a robotics and automation program up there. Like, man, I need to get up here. I need to learn this stuff. I need to get in this stuff. This will really up my game. And I'm thinking of, the financial stuff, and thinking, start buying my own home. Never owned a home. Heck, at 14, 15 years old, I lived in an abandoned house, homeless as a kid. Grew up in poverty. We moved around like gypsies, and just because bills couldn't be paid, so we just moved to the next place.
Mm-hmm.
So never had anything stable. So started buying my own home, and man, got up there, Toyota, got to working up there and moved towards that program, and was only up there 4 months and got in a pile up out here on 41. Snapped my ankle, gave me a concussion. I was banged up pretty bad, man. Was out of work. At the same time, my relationship at home was dissolving, and needless to say, I ended up injured, out of work, in my home with my 2 dogs. That's it. Was about to lose everything. I did have people around me, I guess I'll name drop him, like, got to. I already said Tony Burns. Tony Burns was one of them that, was there, man. He was there to help me. My buddy Rob, who was an ex-supervisor of mine, which is one of my good friends to this day. Dude, I went to this dark place in my mind, and I couldn't understand it. Like, what's going on, man? I've worked my butt off. I've been out here. I'm doing the right thing. I've, just didn't understand what was going on, man. But I realized there were lessons in it. Not to say I figured it out, but I figured it out a lot better than I was. I still had a problem with being humble. Still had some anger issues that wouldn't really turn physical, but I just kind of there's things I still needed to work on, and one of them was also the way I seen some people around me. So I guess, man, sitting here trying to think.
It's a tough one.
Like, yeah, I mean, it's just, I talk about that moment because I think that moment was the most recent defining moment in my life of a valley that God walked me through. But at first, I didn't see it as a valley. I seen it as horrible, disastrous. I'm about to lose everything. I'm about to lose my home. I'm out of work. Bills are piling up, medical bills. I'm taking care of all this stuff on my own, and I can't work. I'm injured. Like, I'm about to lose everything. Why me?
Yeah.
And I think through that, I guess that's one of the biggest key things. It made me realize some selfishness that I had was one of the things. It made me also realize that I was putting more trust in myself and people than I was God. And I think he used that moment to kind of open my eyes up. And also, some people don't like it, but it also opened my eyes up to how I was trying to be a certain way to please certain people and to prove, who I wasn't anymore. And it started taking away from who I am.
Yeah.
And who my personality. One of the things I can say, like I've had a coworker that I work, at my work now, get to talking to me, and we spent some time together, and he's like, "Man, you're a normal dude." Like, what's that supposed to mean? I'm like, what's that supposed to mean? And he's like,
Yeah.
well, man, your Facebook, man, I thought you were just this big old Bible thumping, person. I'm like, well, that's because I don't put my whole life on Facebook, but I do put God on there. I do put devotionals on there. I'm hoping that I get something out of this stuff. Maybe the next person to get it. But yeah, dude, I'm just like you. I'm just a better person who's continuing to growing. Pass me that beer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm normal,
Yeah.
but I also know that I wouldn't be sitting right here without Christ, without God. It's I don't know, man.
I didn't want to put words in your mouth, but you've referenced God several times, so I was going to say faith is probably one of those things.
My faith just continues to grow stronger and stronger.
Seems like faith in the people you surround yourself with. You find like one or two really good people out there, men out there, right? And then you meet their friends. And you become buddies with their friends, and you meet their, like right now, I didn't know you from Adam, but I'm like, we could hang out.
There's something right there you just touched on too. I was surrounding myself also with too many people.
Great point.
I was surrounding myself also with too many people. God also used that moment to kind of, once I said, separate me from some people. And at first, I was kind of butthurt over it. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of butthurt. It was one of them. Damn, I thought these people were my friends. Just like going away.
We just had a conversation about
I get put in a hard time, and all of a sudden, people are bouncing from me. But it's all for a purpose. Yeah, like he kept people around me that like Brian, Tony. And I continue to name people, but it's not two handfuls anymore. It's one.
Yeah.
But
they're the right ones.
Solid people, that really do want to see, me continue to do good, to continue to grow, to continue to be successful, that I feel comfortable being honest with, because to be honest, like some of the people that are around me, I only told them bits and pieces,
Yeah.
Or they seen Facebook, and that was enough for them, I didn't really trust them to be in here. I didn't feel comfortable with them.
I see you on Facebook. You send more invites to joining groups than anybody I ever met. But I tell you what though. But I'm like, man, this dude's just trying to help people out. That's
absolutely,
cool. Yeah.
Because at one time,
spreading it out.
At one time, dude, it was all like I was support local. Like you'd see nothing but restaurants and stuff. Because I mean, that's something I believe in, man. I believe in. I'd rather go someplace, the mom and pop place, somebody that lives right here in our community, and spend my money with them than a corporation. Like that's I'm big on that, man. Like we can build our own economy, like right here.
Yeah.
In the bricks we live in, I mean, like we can build it up by helping the people around us, but I don't know.
No, I was just funny. I at first I was like, man, I don't even know what this thing is he wants me to join, but I was like, all right, I appreciate this. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Follow pages.
Keep sending them. Yeah. Keep sending them. I'll follow one of them one of these days.
So man, it's
if I I run into people and I get to talking to them, and they run some kind of like little remodeling business. I'm like, got a Facebook? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna look it up.
You're like every
boom.
company's dream.
Boom! I just send it all, send it to every friend. I
Send
hit
all.
invite all.
Yeah.
Like my whole friends list is now know who your business is. Like,
Yeah.
I ain't got many. There's only like 600 people on my page, but all 600 people know who you are now.
Yeah.
They're either going to accept it or deny it.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, so I think a good wrap up here is just kind of like where you've landed now. I think it's so impressive. Where you've recently landed a job, because I don't know that typically that just happens. Like there was definitely God had his hand in that piece, man.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
tell us kind of where you're at now and how that worked out.
God used some of you guys too, man. Like it's yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got a lot of support in this. Man, coming out of that car wreck, I got back to work, but I'm jumping here and there. I'm doing seasonal stuff. I'm doing some contract stuff. I'm doing some stuff that I don't enjoy at all. That every day I was like, man, this sucks that I gotta be here. But I'm paying my bills, whatever it takes. And man, it's crazy. I was about to try to get on out at Alcoa. Man, screw this. I'll go to the pot room. I know I can handle it. I'm 47 years old now, but I guarantee, what I'm saying, I can handle it. Like I work till I drop. You might have to pull me out of there, one day from dropping, but I'm gonna handle it. And a guy I know that works out there, man, had sent me the link to CSX. I clicked on it. I looked it up, and I clicked on it and looked it up, and yeah, it was there was a mechanical one and a freight conductor one. So I threw my hat in the ring for both of them. But I actually was leaning towards the mechanical, because I mean that's all I had been pursuing. I even was, over in classes at Ivy Tech. I'm like, boom, I'm upping my game in this stuff, man. One time I was a service technician for restaurant equipment. Some other guys that had been locked up that were doing this stuff got me involved in it, and boom, taught me a bunch of stuff about it, and so that's what I was leaning towards. And man, actually, I get video interviews for both of them, but then I get a notification saying there's an on-site job hiring event for freight conductor. So I'm like, I already applied for that, but man, I'm gonna throw my resume in the hat on that just in case it don't flip over. And I did, and got an on-site interview. Went and did the interview. Had an awesome interview. Had an awesome letter of recommendation for me right there. Like at the interview, man, there the guys were guys I interviewed with was like, we're good with you. Let's see what Jacksonville says. That's where the headquarters is. And so a couple weeks go by, I get a phone call. You've been selected for the job. Like, man, dude, I'm outside mowing my grass. Like, this is what I need right here. This is the comeback. This is gonna get these bills paid off. I can start being, get out of the negative and start building out. I got a house that I've lived in for over 3 years that had to tear the stairs off my front deck so nobody walk on them because I can't afford to get sued. You know what I'm saying? So I got a old beat up deck out there, and we're just going in and out of the basement door. I love the place. I got a little acre and a dead end and a patch of woods, man. It's peaceful. I love it. It's not the hood anymore. I like to go further out to the country, but got all this stuff, man, that not able to do anything. I'm sitting looking at all this stuff I need to do to my house, but got these medical bills, got all this stuff, man. I got to pay bills, center us, as we all know, especially you guys with businesses. Whew. But like, man, this is what I need, and start going through the process. I think Brian's the first one I text when a company that does their background check. Usually companies only go back 7 to 10 years. My conviction was in 2005, so it never shows up. Like I'm honest about it. When I'm in places, but man, I got that background check, man, and it went back to like when I was 18 years old. I'm like, yep, I'm screwed. I'm not getting this job. Like, it's over. It's over with. And Brian's like, bro, no, it's not. Quit saying that. It's not over with. It's it's no. You know what's possible. And him, several other people, I went to bat for me. But it was God's purpose, man. Like, I see that. Definitely God's purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Ended up, they reached out to me, the HR wanted me, to answer some questions. They picked a few things out from my criminal history. The robbery one was the biggest one, and they just had a whole lineup of questions they wanted done. And, had a background committee and had a thing with them, and I answered these questions and everything, and sent a written thing to them also. They told me to get back with me. Some weeks go by, and man, I'm thinking, yep, I just got ghosted by the railroad. And then not even 3 days after I said that to myself, I get a call, get an email and a call at the same time. And it's the HR lady, and she's like, did you get the email? I'm like, yeah. She was like, all right, I wanted to tell you instead of just sending an email. We've decided to go ahead and go with you. The background committee has decided to go forward with your offer as a conductor. We're happy to bring you on board, and your testimony is a very powerful testimony, and Jesus really will change a person's life if you let him. Congratulations, Mr. Raymer.
Whew, man. Oof.
Like,
It's giving me chills.
yeah, like, did this come out? I got the email on my phone, but she wanted to tell me it also.
Yeah.
And
Man.
yeah, man, I got prepared and went down to Atlanta for a month, trained. Even though I got the psychology degree and all the stuff I got, the college, man, I get down there, boots on the ground, that's my thing. You put physical work, I'm a bulldozer, man. I take pride in that. I can work all day long. But, man, they throw these books in front of you, and there's like thousands of rules, man. Like, it got all this stuff you got to know, all these different rules. And every little rule, you do it wrong, get you fired.
Yeah. Shout out to CSX for giving you a shot. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely. Shout out to the guys that have, man, it's the guys that are out there right now. I don't think I've expressed it, to them, but like, I'm truly grateful. Like, there's guys that have taken the time, and do I know it all? I think I should. They tell me all the time, like several of them, bro, you're not going to learn all this stuff right away. Just take it one step at a time. But I feel like I needed to know it all right now. You know what I'm saying? So I can get it right.
Yeah.
I just want CSX to know that, they gave me an opportunity and I took it serious, and they're not going to regret it. I want the guys that, there's guys out there been out there for a long time that when they see somebody come up on the board with them, because we got a board, it'd take forever to explain all this stuff. There's a lot to it, but there's guys they see that they don't see dependable, or they don't, really care for, and they don't want to work with. I want, when them guys see me on that board with them, I want to be at a point where they know, hey man, this dude's gonna come, he's gonna take his job serious, he's gonna bust, he's gonna get things done, and he actually gives a damn about not just himself. I think a lot of guys out there have been kind of wore down over time, like anything can do to any of us, and they should take pride in what they do. What they do is really badass. I mean, it really is, like,
yeah.
And it's an awesome opportunity. It's a career, not just a job. It's the first time I can say that it's a career. Do I think I'll be able to get 30 years in? I'll be lucky to be alive in 30 years. But I'm at least going to give them 20.
Yeah.
I'm at least going to give them 20.
Yeah.
Because you got to be 60 years old and have 30 years in to get 100% benefits. And they go off like you're best gaining 3 years.
Yep.
And it's, man, it's wild, their pension and stuff. Like if you're married and you retire with 30 years in and over 60, it's something like you get 100% of your best 3 years, and then your wife gets 50% of it. Like, so it's,
Yeah, they got a great.
yeah, you guys are like boating and golfing, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
the rest of your life, you know,
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah.
Like some of them guys are already preparing for it. That's what they do is golf. Like
We
I
don't-
know nothing about golfing, but
Same.
Well, I'll say
Yeah.
just you deserve it, and I'm happy for you. I remember when you first told me you got that, man. I was so happy for you, and I'm so, I'm thankful for our friendship, and I'm just for what it's worth, bro. I'm so proud of you and the changes that you made and the impact that you continue to have on people's life, and that, bro, is a legacy. So
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure, truly. I feel like I've just learned a lot about you, and man,
I feel like this podcast could have been way better, but you know what I mean?
yeah.
it was,
No, we could talk forever.
the only bad part about it, you hit me in the gut with a few things that I'm gonna have to soak on tonight.
Man, it's
Just-
been like an emotional roller coaster.
yeah,
over
just
here.
things that you don't know it, but some of the things you said would encourage me that I need to be better about the way I'm doing some
Yeah.
things. So
I do too, bro. Like there's a lot of things I fail at, man.
we all do.
Yeah. I mean, I might not be the person I used to be, but I got so much more to learn, man.
That's right.
I got so much more to learn. And
Well, thank you, Chris, and thanks everybody for checking out another episode of the Watching the War.